Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod, and happy stacking Saturday. Let's freaking get it. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis as well as breaking news. Trump says I will end Biden's war on crypto, and the future of Bitcoin will be made in America. We'll also be discussing Australian Securities Exchange approves its first spot, Bitcoin ETF. We'll also be discussing spot Ethereum ETF may begin trading by July 2nd, according to Bloomberg analyst Eric Balchunas. We'll also be discussing breaking news, Bitcoin Bank proposal gains momentum, and El Salvador, quoting the high priest of Bitcoin, Max Kaiser, President Bukele hits ground running a new term with new legislation establishing a Bitcoin bank. Borrowers can collateralize their pristine, no counterparty risks Bitcoin. Billions of Bitcoin will flood into El Salvador, up in the GDP. The credit ratings hits IG within 24 months. Kathy Wood's 10x GDP growth estimate in 5 years just got way more likely. We'll also be discussing an ETF boom. Market set to explode to 35 trillion by 2035, family, according to the senior ETF analyst over at Bloomberg. We're also going to be discussing analysts predict Bitcoin hitting 200,000 next year and 1 million per coin by 2033. They say we believe Bitcoin is in a new bull cycle. We're breaking all this down for you. All this plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important to smash those thumbs up because the likes help out tremendously with the YouTube algo. Also, if you can, simply subscribe. This is the #1 daily Bitcoin pod, and please do repost this over on X. It's always greatly appreciated. Today is pod episode number 1671. I'm your host, JV. It's June 15th, 2024. Happy stacking Saturday. Let's kick it off with our market watch, as we do each and every day. As you can see on Coin 360, the entire market back in the green, which we love to see, with Bitcoin trading at 66,600. XRP, the big gainer of the day, but still below 50 cents. We have Ether up 5%, trading just under 3,600, with the rest of the market pumping in the green. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. The current market cap sits at $2.41 trillion, and the Bitcoin market cap resurfaced above 1.3 trillion. Let's freaking go. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours, we have ENS up 16%, Pendle up 11.5%, and Lido DAO up 10.5%. Quick shout out to Barack Monfils Evangelista. He wrote, "Keep it up with a super." I greatly appreciate the support, brother. Love and light. And below that, we got like Pepe, Notcoin, Athena, Optimism, Polygon. Which alts, if any, are you guys most bullish on for this particular bull? Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get a visual perspective on the daily is a beautiful thing to see 95% of the market back in the green, because yesterday it was the polar opposite. It was like 95% of the market in the red. So nice little flip reversal here. And zooming out on the monthly to get a broader perspective, it's safe to say maybe 80-20, with most of the alts correcting and in the red. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, we're currently rated a 74 in greed. Yesterday 74, last week a 72, last month a 70. And there you have it, my crypto fam. Where do you feel the Bitcoin price action is likely to take us next? Holla, holla, holla. But anyways, fam, let's continue. We did a little market watch. Now what we're going to do is a little technical analysis. Check out the charts where the Bitcoin price action is likely to take us next. And we'll go back to the live charts after I read this article. Bitcoin bounces at 1 month lows. Watch these particular Bitcoin price levels to watch out for next. That's right. Bitcoin surprised on June 14th by delivering another 3.5% dip, taking Bitcoin to 64,950 over on Bitstamp. Now building on existing weakness, the move took current week-to-date losses to more than 6.7%, and the Bitcoin price action to its lowest level since mid-May, according to TradingView. As we can see here on the Bitcoin one-day chart, Bitcoin just lost technical support at the 50-day moving average, according to Keith Allen, co-founder of Material Indicators, who also shared, if the bulls lose support at 65,000, be prepared for 60,000 or lower. But lo and behold, 65 has been holding strong. And while 65 managed to hold, others are looking for possible areas to call a near-term Bitcoin price floor, while the new all-time highs look increasingly out of reach. For Axel Adel Jr., a contributor to the on-chain analytics platform CryptoQuant, hodlers' cost bases are due to receive a new market test. These levels, also known as realized price, refer to the aggregate buy-in price for investors holding coins for various lengths of time. And of particular interest are the short-term hodlers, entities holding a given unit of Bitcoin for up to 155 days, which represents the more speculative end of the hodler spectrum. As reported, their cost basis has functioned as bull market support almost flawlessly since the start of 2023. And as CryptoQuant currently shows the short-term hodler realized price to be 62.2. Now another cohort, those holding for between 3 to 6 months, have a realized price of 55,500, while Bitcoin's diamond hands where you at, the long-term hodlers have their cost basis at 24.3. Diamond hands and laser eyes. Now how long the correction might last will be determined by the market, but in the previous cycles, similar situations lasted from 65 to 371 days. Now also, Bitcoin trader watches for illiquid squeeze. That's right, we're referring to Peter Brandt. However, as I pointed out yesterday, I feel this highly unlikely. I'd give it maybe a 5 to 10% probability of happening, but nonetheless, he thinks if we break below 60, we can hit a low of $48,000. Quoting the analysts here, looks like the bid wall around 65 did get partially front run. Here, there's a noticeably large gap between bids and asks. Quoted ask liquidity is around 70 Gs currently. There is room for forcing an illiquid squeeze, in which I'd be watching for passive supply selling into the 68, 69,000 range. Some fresh bid liquidity quoted around 63 to 62, with the bulk of the demand around 60 if 65,000 is lost. And as you can see from CoinGlass, it shows a line of liquidity sitting at 64.9, just beneath the intraday lows, increasing at this current time. So there you have it. And also in the news, Trump again, I will end Joe Biden's war on crypto, he says. And the future of Bitcoin will be made in America. So there you go, yo. And now what I'm going to do, let's do a little live chart action, because we don't get to do this often enough, typically only when we do the pump watches, but what the heck. Right now you're looking at my favorite chart, which is the Bitcoin 4-hour chart via TradingView. This is live and in the flesh right now. You can see the targets on the screen. We have a big red target, which is a falling wedge target sitting at 73,507, which would take us on the cusp of re-entering price discovery mode, as the current all-time high is 73.8, which we captured back in mid-March. We also have a target in the purple, which is a head and shoulders target, just sitting at 64,379, not too much lower from where we're at. And then we have some lower targets, double top target at 60 Gs, and the orange just above 60 Gs as well. Now let's check out some of the other charts. This is the 4-hour. Let's look at the 1-day chart. How about that? This is the 1-day chart. You can see there is a target in the red, a falling wedge as well at 72,941, and there's one right above it, just sitting barely above it. And there's also a target below sitting at 61,188, and a blue target sitting at 53,668. And we're going to look at a couple of more charts. So we did the 1-day, we did the 4-hour. Let's look at the 1-hour chart, and then we'll zoom it in a little more, just to get some perspective of where we at. So yeah, we're sitting at roughly 65.9, as you can see, live and in the flesh. We have a red target in the 1-hour chart, which is a falling wedge target, sitting at 68,781. And we have a target to the downside in the orange, you can see at 61,849. And we're gonna do one more. Let's maybe do the 15-minute chart. Yeah, let's do the 15-minute. Kind of flat right now, but there is a target in the red, sitting at 68,823, and there's a target below sitting at 61,849. So there you have it, crypto fam. Let me know your thoughts on some of the price action and the live charts I just shared with you, and where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to take us next. Australian Securities Exchange approves this first spot Bitcoin ETF. That's right, Australia's largest stock exchange, the Australian Securities Exchange, short ASX, has approved its first spot Bitcoin ETF fund, which will commence trading June 20th. 5 more days, bro. Investment firm Van Eck will be the issuer of the spot Bitcoin ETF. And according to Van Eck press release shared, it comes only months after the firm was approved to start trading the spot Bitcoin ETFs. The Van Eck Trust HODL in the United States, which officially began January 11th. CEO for Van Eck in the Asia Pacific region, Arian Ian Nairon reiterated that the demand is growing for Bitcoin exposure in Australia, especially through a regulated, transparent, and familiar investment vehicle. We recognize Bitcoin as an emerging asset class that many advisors and investors want to access. VBTC also makes Bitcoin more accessible by managing all the back-end complexity, understanding the technical aspects of acquiring, storing, and securing digital assets is no longer necessary. And although this is the first time a spot Bitcoin ETF has been approved by the ASX, there have been 2 other instances when Bitcoin ETFs have launched in Australia over the past couple of years. That's right. Now, recently, the monochrome Bitcoin ETF with the ticker IBTC was approved and started trading on Australia's second largest stock exchange, which is the CBOE Australia Exchange. Now, the monochrome Bitcoin ETF started trading when the markets opened on the CBOE Australia Exchange, which was June 4th, so about a week and a half ago, And here's some of the stats. Australia's new Bitcoin ETF has accumulated 46 Bitcoins since launch. Not really that much volume, 46 BTC, but hey, it's a start. Now, monochrome said IBIT's holdings are stored offline, or IBTC's holdings, that is, in a device not connected to the internet, aka a cold storage wallet. And with a crypto custodian solution that meets Australian institutional custody regulatory standards. Also in April of 2022, the global X21 shares Bitcoin ETF became the very first Bitcoin ETF product to debut in Australia. So there you have it. How many of my Aussies here in the chat right now? Let me know if you're in Australia, brothers. And how many of you are looking to get exposure to the Bitcoin ETF? If you are in Australia or anywhere else, let me know. Next story of the day, here's the Ethereum ETF, and the latest news and headline reads, Spot Ethereum ETF may begin trading by July 2nd, 2 weeks out, according to Bloomberg analyst Eric Valchunas. That's right. Quoting him here, we are moving up our over-under date for the launch of the spot Ether ETF to July 2nd. I think initially they said July 4th, right? A couple of days ago. So yeah, let me know if you agree with that. Decent chance they work to declare them effective the next week and get it off their plate before the holiday weekend. Anything is possible, but this is our best guess as of now, he added, referring to obviously, Independence Day is July 4th, which is an annual celebration. The comments signal a turnaround in confidence from the day before. Well, Valchunas claim ETH ETF apps, we're still waiting for the feedback from the Division of Corporation Finance. Now, the division of the SEC oversees firm disclosures, with the analyst debating whether to push back his July 4th prediction, as outlined here in X. And on May 23rd, the SEC approved 8 19B4 filings to list spot Ether ETFs on various U.S. exchanges, but they can't start trading until they have required S1 registration statement approvals. Meanwhile, the SEC chair, No Claire Gare, provided a broader time frame for when the spot Ether ETFs might begin trading, indicating it could happen within the next 3 months by the end of September. Talk about the guy can't give a clear answer. It can happen any day within the next 3 months. Thanks a lot, buddy. And it could also happen freaking tomorrow because we're in summer. But nonetheless, that's no Claire Gare for you. Now, just a week earlier, Gensler indicated that the speed of the Ether ETF approvals would depend on how quickly issuers could address comments from the SEC. And while some traders are hopeful that the Ether prices could mirror Bitcoin's chart movements following the spot Bitcoin ETF approval, January 11th, which surged to record highs of 73.8, that was back mid-March. Not everyone has the same confidence. On June 3rd, Stephen Richardson, managing director of financial markets at Fireblocks, argued that the spot Ether ETFs won't see the same one-day inflow as the spot Bitcoin ETFs did, as the assets use cases are far more different in value. Quoting him here, what's missing is widespread consensus that effectively evaluates the utility or utilization rate of the Ethereum blockchain. So there you have it, my crypto fam. What are your thoughts? Do you think we get that official launch date for the Ether ETF spot on the 2nd or July 4th around that holiday weekend? Let me know. Clearly, it would have to go live on a open day, not over the weekend, but you see my gist. This is the big news I actually wanted to highlight today. Even though it's not the feature story, this got me excited when I first heard this news break yesterday from Max Kaiser. So shout out to Max Kaiser. Show him some love. This headline reads, Bitcoin bank proposal gains momentum in El Salvador. And Max tweeted, President Bukele hits the ground running in a new term with new legislation establishing a Bitcoin bank in El Salvador. Borrowers can collateralize their pristine, no counterparty risks Bitcoin. This is precisely what everyone has been asking me virtually every day I've been streaming for the past, whatever, like 5 years. Like everyone wants to borrow against their Bitcoin. Well, with a Bitcoin bank, that's a reality. Billions of Bitcoin will flood into El Salvador's upping GDP, and their credit rating hits IG within 24 months. Kathy Wood's 10x GDP growth estimate in 5 years just got way more likely. He also shared here, whatever you pay for real estate here in El Salvador now will double or triple in the next 5 years. When the new Bitcoin bank opens, borrow against your biddies and watch your basis for buying real estate drop like a motherfucking rock. And that was off the back of someone complaining about real estate being too expensive. They wrote, "Hey, Max, I'm really thinking about moving to El Salvador. My problem is that the real estate prices are just very high. I have to invest more money than I need to live in Germany. I am talking about real estate. Can you confirm that?" Max makes a great point. Why wouldn't you just borrow against your Bitcoin, buy the house you really want, and then watch your bottom line basis drop like a rock? And obviously, Bitcoin is going to continue to go up in value over time. So pretty clever to be able to purchase a property and not have to depart with your precious biddies. So let me know your thoughts on that. Now, here's a little more deeper into the story. El Salvador's pro-Bitcoin president, Nayib Bukele. And if it sounds good, borrowing against your Bitcoin to buy real estate, repost this, spread the word, and let people know that this is going to be available very soon. It's proposing the establishment of a private investment bank within the nation of El Salvador, which, if approved, will offer Bitcoin investors access to financial services and fewer restrictions compared to traditional banks. Quoting Milena Mayorga over at El Salvador, she wrote, "As part of our economic plan for El Salvador, we propose a BPI, Bank for Private Investment, where we can diversify the financing options offered to potential investors in dollars and Bitcoin." President Bukele, I just kind of read that from Max Kaiser, but he also added that ARK Invest CEO Kathy Wood's forecast that El Salvador's real GDP can scale tenfold during the next 5 years has only become more likely. Amen to that. Now, it comes only 2 weeks after Bukele was sworn in for another 5-year presidential term after a landslide. I think the landslide was so big, it's never happened in presidential history of any country in the world. I think it was like 90+% of the population wanted Bukele reelected. Lo and behold, he got reelected. Here's a photo from that celebration, inauguration. Everyone was there. A lot of world leaders, even had Trump Jr. there. Javier Milei was there. Just a lot of people in general. Of course, Max and Stacy and the rest of the crew. You know what I mean? The Bitcoin fam. But anyways, according to El Mundo, the BPI will not face the same stringent laws as traditional banks, such as restrictions on engaging with overseas banks or finance companies linked to their shareholders or in a business group. Loan restrictions will also be eliminated. In fact, quoting them here, investment banks will also not be subject to the prohibition of granting credit or assuming risks for more than 25% of their asset fund in relation to the same person. If approved, the new private investments must be created with a minimum share capital of $50 million and require at least 2 shareholders who may be foreigners. It was reiterated that a BPI would be able to operate in any legal tender, including the United States dollar and Bitcoin, and even seek approval to become digital asset and Bitcoin service providers. El Salvador's Ministry of Economy, Maria, proposed to reform to the Technology, Tourism, and Investment Commission under Bukele's direction. However, it has not yet been approved. The reform has not yet been approved. The legislators may not yet agree to call officials to consult the objectives of the project, nor have they put in a vote in the commission. But to me, it's like common sense. I mean, if you're going to buy a property, why not borrow against your biddies? Of course, we'd like a Bitcoin bank option here in the States, but who knows how many centuries, I may be exaggerating, but who knows realistically how long that will take, to occur here in the States. We already know Bukele is Bitcoin country. We know their stance on Bitcoin. They want their citizens to have Bitcoin. And I think that's just going to help accelerate the growth of the GDP, just as Max predicted. And I wouldn't be surprised if he nailed it, spot on. And the real estate values do truly, triple, quadruple in the next 5 years as a result of what Bukele is doing for the nation of El Salvador. Even me personally, I'm totally open to using Bitcoin to, borrow against your Bitcoin to purchase what you want. I did that to buy this house you're looking at that I'm in right now. So you already know, family. I'm all over it. I'd love to purchase a house in El Salvador. How lit would that be? Wow. And imagine just hypothetically, like Bitcoin's $1 million. And then it's like, here's 1 Bitcoin to the bank. You get $1 million cash and you can buy your dream home out in El Salvador. That'd be pretty lit, bro. Just speaking out loud, thinking out loud. But nonetheless, let me know your thoughts and how many of you would actually entertain that. Holla. Anyways, now let's discuss a $35 trillion market cap, followed by a $1 million price prediction from Bernstein. Brand new prediction. This is their base case, by the way, so it even makes it that much more lit. But let's start here. ETF boom. Market set to explode to 35 trillion by 2035. That's right. The global ETF fund is poised for a meteoric rise, with analysts predicting a staggering growth by 2035. This translates to a projected asset value of a whopping 35 trillion. Whoa! Dwarfing the current figure of 13 trillion. Now, Eric Balchunas, senior ETF analyst for Binance, that's not correct. It's for Bloomberg, but I find that hilarious. If he was actually working for Binance, it's Bloomberg. Believes this surge is inevitable, driven by the inherent appeal of ETFs and exciting new frontier of crypto-based offerings. What would you guys do without me? I mean, there's always inaccurate information in every article, and I got to fix it for you live it in the flesh, and I do a damn good job at it, don't I? ETFs have long been a darling of investors due to their inherent advantages. Damn straight. Unlike actively managed funds with their hefty fees, these types of funds boast low costs, making them a budget-friendly option for investors seeking broad market exposure. Additionally, their intraday liquidity allows for easy buying and selling throughout the trading day, a stark contrast to the less flexible structure of traditional mutual funds. Tax efficiency and the ability to tailor investment strategies to diverse offerings further solidify their position as a go-to investment tool. Shout out to Chandy for the super. She wrote, "Happy Father's Day to all the good dads, including JV, my boyfriend, and Dad in heaven." Amen to that, and I second that. Shout out to all the dads in heaven, because we all have dads, right? Regardless, and respect. Have an incredible happy Father's Day with the fam. That's what it's all about. So yeah, and thank you again, Chandy. Greatly respect and appreciate you. So Eric wrote 35 and 35. We predict in ETFs are likely to reach 35 trillion in assets globally by 2035, triple from 13 trillion today. This is based on 10%. Past decade was 17%. Decade before was 25%. This is arguably fairly modest because the market returns likely less great. Their low-cost intraday liquidity, tax efficiency, flexibility, etc., will continue to attract investor cash and traders volume, which will result in more new products, innovative designs, and more salespeople. Structural changes overseas favor ETFs long-term, while MF, can I say motherfrickers? I don't know what it stands for. Share classes in the U.S. will add yet another tributary to the cash to flow in. Direct indexing is clearing, not the threat some predict, and tokenization may be, but not for a while for a variety of reasons, and it could even help ETFs. Just too early to tell, though, and it shows you the ETF growth analysis chart. Look at that. Going straight to the moon, family. So you already know, and that's coming directly from Balchunas, the head analyst, not at Binance, but over at Bloomberg. He emphasizes these core strengths as a key driver of future growth. Let me know if you agree with the analyst. Now, the emergence of spot crypto ETF fund is a game changer for the industry. I mean, collectively, let's just discuss it. Collectively, they now have over, I believe it is 1 million Bitcoin accumulated in the last 5 months since January 11th, the date that the ETF spot for Bitcoin went live officially here in the States. 1 million Bitcoin, 5 months. That's 5% of the circulating Bitcoin supply. 5 months. It took MicroStrategy virtually 4 years. They got started in 2020. They put the Bitcoin on the balance sheet, first publicly traded company to do so. They laid down the blueprint. Many companies now have followed in their footsteps, but guess what? It took them 4 years. And as of now, MicroStrategy has 214,000 Bitcoin, and Michael Saylor just announced purchasing another 700 million, which may be occurring over the weekend here. So you already know BlackRock is on track. I mean, they already have over 300,000 Bitcoin. So obviously they're the largest by far. They're also the largest asset manager on the entire planet. And they're not going to slow down anytime soon. Their goal is to accumulate and stack as many biddies as humanly possible. And when you guys like the Portnoy with the paper hands are selling, who do you think is snatching them up? It's the asset managers, it's the smart money, it's the whales, it's the BlackRocks, it's the ETFs. You already know. Shout out Russell. He just gifted, speaking of memberships, wow. Just gifted 5 memberships to the channel to the following: Furl, Ferris Fox, Alex Mansfield, Chef Geo, Latin Table, Sadu P, and Heroic BTC. You can thank Russell O. Mahoney for hooking you guys up. We greatly appreciate that, Russell. Now let's dive into our featured story of the day. Analysts predict Bitcoin hitting 200,000 next year and $1 million by the year 2033. And this is their base case. This is Bernstein. They say, we believe Bitcoin is in a new bull cycle. Amen to that. And shout out to Pam Powers. She just sent a super. It says, love your show and music is amazing. Greatly respect to Pam Powers. And I got to give a lot of credit to Chandy, because all the original music we play on the stream comes from her production. So respect and thank you. We're glad you're enjoying it. So yeah, let's break down this bullishness right here. Bernstein analysts share their Bitcoin price prediction for Friday just recently, while initiating coverage of the Bitcoin-focused software intelligence firm MicroStrategy. They believe Bitcoin can reach $1 million per coin by 2033, and they forecast a cycle high of 200,000 by 2025, up from their previous estimate of 150,000. So they just upped their base case, ultimately 50 G's, baby. Quoting them here, we revised up our Bitcoin price expectation to 200,000 cycle high by 2025 versus 150,000, which was previous. Our base case estimates Bitcoin at 250,000 by 2025 next year, and 500,000 by 2029, and a whopping 1 million by 2033. Let me know your thoughts on that prediction. The analysts largely attribute their bullish price forecast to the strong demand from the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Quoting them again, we believe that the U.S. regulated ETFs were a watershed moment for crypto, bringing in structural demand from traditional pools of capital. They opine. They estimate that by 2025, Bitcoin ETFs will hold roughly 7% of the Bitcoin in the circulation, increasing to 15% by 2033. And as I already mentioned, just the ETFs in the United States already have roughly 5% of the Bitcoin supply. So why wouldn't they have another, 2% by next year? No brainer, easy peasy, conservative, if you're to ask me. So let me know your thoughts. And moreover, Bernstein analysts explained that the Bitcoin halving creates a unique scenario where the natural sell pressure from the Bitcoin miners is reduced by half or even more as they hold on to more Bitcoin in anticipation. Simultaneously, new catalysts for Bitcoin demand emerge, leading to exponential price increases. And they also shared, we believe Bitcoin is in a new bull cycle. Well, it's 100% in a new bull cycle. We've had 3 halvings previous to this 4th halving, which just occurred on April 19th. And history has shown us it's the year preceding the halving. We typically break out parabolic to a new all-time high, and we typically add a 0 at the end of the price action every 4 years. Hypothetically, if we were to add a 0 from today's price, that would take us to 660,000 as a cycle peak. And if we did that from the recent all-time high of 2021, from the previous cycle peak, which I believe we hit on November 10th, 2021. We hit 69,000, add a 0 to that. We're talking 690,000 per Bitcoin. So let me know your thoughts on that. Now, Bernstein is a traditional, company. So typically they have very conservative estimates, but it's still bullish considering they just raised their base case. 200,000 next year, send it. My personal prediction, that's a bottom. A bull scenario I can easily see being 750,000 for the cycle peak, but my bear scenario is in alignment with their base case because my bear scenario is 222,000. So I am a firm believer Bitcoin can be anywhere from 222,000 next year to 750. Not investment advice. Everything I share personally coming out of my mouth is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know anything. I'm not a financial strategist. I have no background with finance or anything like that. But just my guess, just my speculation for entertainment purposes. Let me know your thoughts, where you feel the Bitcoin price will likely take us. And regarding their $1 million prediction, what are your thoughts on that? Personally, I think that is also kind of bearish because I can see 1 million occurring by 2029. Their prediction is 4 years later by 2033. So I believe that's conservative, but I want to know your thoughts, family. I'm going to read as many of your comments out loud as we can.